AEW's Lio Rush quitting the company. I'm going to give you guys more details on that. Also, on top of that, AEW contracts are set to expire soon. What's going to happen? What do I think should happen? And then also a major feud is being planned for AEW, and quite honestly, I hate it. So we're going to talk about it all in today's video. If you guys want more, go ahead and click subscribe. So we're going to talk about Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley because they teased this feud on AEW Rampage. Now, a couple months ago, we actually talked about this on the channel that AEW may want to plan this feud because they want to keep Bryan Danielson in high-profile feuds, even if he's not winning the championship. Now, with that being said, I think AEW is booking themselves in the corner here. I have no problem with the creative decision for them to do this, but at the end of the day, I don't think Jon Moxley should be a guy to lose, especially just returning. And I don't think Bryan Danielson should be losing, especially when he just lost to Hangman Page. So here's the thing. AEW is going to move forward with this feud. It makes a lot of sense for the business aspect. A lot of people know who they are. They have some history in WWE as well. But I don't know. I feel like they're booking themselves in the corner. And I think if AEW is booking themselves in the corner with Bryan Danielson every single time, then we have to see 60-minute draws. We have to see this. We have to see some kind of something. And then I'm afraid that AEW could make that same mistake as WWE, where you're doing shitty finishes. I have a little bit of belief that AEW won't do that, but that's my fear. Now, with that being said, Bryan Danielson, he approached Jon Moxley as he was leaving from his match, going backstage. Bryan Danielson clearly being the heel, just smiling and laughing and clapping his hands. I'm very curious to see what they do. For those who are watching AEW, I can understand that some of you might be upset that AEW is doing two WWE superstars in a feud with each other. We'll just have to see how it plays out. That's really the big thing. It's not like we haven't seen Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. It's not like we haven't seen that before. So I understand your frustration if you're frustrated, but we got to give it a chance and see what happens. Our next story of the day, AEW contracts are set to expire very, very soon. We've been following this for a while. I mentioned Peter Avalon the other day in a video, actually a couple videos now. But there are several AEW deals that are up this year, and some of them will not be renewed. Many of the names that rarely appear on AEW Dynamite will not be renewed. So what's very interesting here, Joey Janela, which I feel like Joey Janela should be in AEW. I've said this before. I think he should be in a prominent role. I've also suggested that maybe AEW could bring in Mick Foley and put him as a manager for Joey Janela. Repackage him, make him the hardcore legend type of thing, and go that route. But also a lot of people are unfamiliar. Joey Janela is kind of like the bridge for AEW and the independent wrestling scene. So the fact that they don't use him a lot on Dynamite or Rampage, but for some reason we see him on Dark, it tells me either one, they're not happy with his performance, or two, AEW just doesn't have enough time for these guys. And it's true. People are going to lose contracts. They're not going to be able to sign with AEW again. But also at the same time, too, one thing that has to be said, one thing that has to be mentioned here, Joey Janela is that bridge also with GCW and AEW. Guys like Jon Moxley, people like Ruby Soho, right? You see her on GCW. Like, these are things people got to be considerate of. These things happen because Joey Janela. So Joey Janela is definitely useful. I'm not saying that Joey Janela is not going to re-sign, but what I'm saying is there's a ton of contracts being expired soon, and the belief is that if you don't see them on AEW Dynamite and you haven't seen them in months, they're not going to be re-signed. And the belief is that it might quietly happen as well, which I have already been very, very clear. If you're not re-signing people to your contract and you're being quiet about it, I don't think that's cool. But you don't want to look like the bad guy for not re-signing them. I don't know. I'm not sure what the motive is there. But I think if you're AEW, you should say, hey, we've chosen not to re-sign and not a big deal. Whatever. It's mutual. Whatever. But Tony Khan, I think, is probably going to be quiet for a while because of everything that happened with Big Swole, which actually leads us to our final story of the day, which is Lio Rush is choosing to become a free agent. In fact, he has already tweeted. This is so strange, man. Lio Rush leaving AEW it's a very interesting situation. So basically what happened on social media today, Lio Rush came out with a statement saying, on February 14th, 2022, my contract will expire with AEW and I will become a free agent. For all booking inquiries, please email leorushnow@gmail.com. Now, the thing is, Lio Rush was reportedly signed for about a 5-month contract, and recently we saw him off TV. And this was a very strange situation because Lio Rush was very outspoken about Tony Khan's controversial remarks on Twitter in regards to Big Swole. Now, people have asked me about my personal opinion on this, and I said, I don't feel qualified to necessarily talk about this because at the end of the day, I didn't read the entire thing. I didn't hear the entire interview. And from what I've gathered since then is that Big Swole was doing what a normal person would do, right? I think Big Swole I don't think she was reaching. I don't think she was trying to bag on AEW, especially because she had praise for Tony Khan and AEW. And I think what ends up happening here is Lio Rush goes on social media and goes absolutely, like, he is tweeting everything you can imagine about Tony Khan, telling him to apologize and all of this stuff. And then like a day later, he's writing some sort of statement. If Lio Rush is leaving because of the controversy and he doesn't feel like AEW is what he wanted, I have no problem with that. And I don't blame him for that. I can't be upset at that. In fact, I would respect that. Because I think you should. A lot of people want to say, oh, well, he's left WWE. He was outspoken in WWE. Oh, he had issues here. He had issues there. Guys, at the end of the day, if you believe in something, you got to stand up for yourself. And if that's the case here, I can't fault him for that. Regardless, I don't care what anybody tells me. I can't fault Lio Rush for feeling a certain way. Maybe I can't relate to it. Maybe I can't. I don't know. But in this particular situation, I don't feel like I know enough to tell you guys specifically how another person should feel. But what I can tell you is that I think Lio Rush is a good wrestler. I would love to see him back in WWE. Do I think that's likely? No. But I would like to see Lio Rush back in WWE. And I would love to see him reform the Hurt Business because Lio Rush worked with Bobby Lashley. He was replaced by MVP. Now Bobby Lashley doesn't want to work with he doesn't want to work with the Hurt Business. Man, what if WWE can do Lio Rush, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin as the new Hurt Business? And this could be done in retaliation with Lashley. Imagine Lashley wins the WWE Championship at the Rumble from Lesnar. And then they're taken out by these guys. You know, it's just, again, it's fantasy booking and whatnot. Do I think it's likely he goes back to WWE? I don't know. But I feel like that would be a really cool storyline if we're fantasy booking and made it legit. But at the end of the day, it doesn't sound like he's coming back to AEW. And for whatever the reason is, if I'm right, if I'm starting, like if my opinions are right about this, again, I don't see it being a situation where I can fault him for it. Stand up for what you believe in. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, Lio Rush, he's got music, he's got a lot of projects out there. He doesn't necessarily need AEW either. And he's still doing things with New Japan. And we talked about it before, MLW and all these different companies, GCW. So just kind of keep that in mind. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.